you see how that tongue's out right there? That
Oh,
his tongue is too big, so it's always he sleeps and his tongue hangs out of his mouth.
oh.
But
What's your name? What,
Leo, it's Leo.
it's Leo. Hey, Leo. Gorgeous.
And then Sullivan, the golden that was the therapy dog.
Oh,
I think did you ever meet Sullivan? He used to come. She used to come to the workshop.
a bigger dog.
Yeah, it's a golden retriever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember.
yeah.
By the
We actually ddid a little series with for Only Good News called "The Adventures of Sullivan, the Therapy Dog," and every Christmas. They play it. I'll send you a link to it.
Oh, I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. Everybody. Oh, I'm not even on here. I'm just talking. Joey Travolta. I love it. We started differently today, but I saw your dog. I said, I've got to turn the camera on.
Yeah, that he's really having the two dogs during this whole pandemic has just been a lifesaver. Having these dogs, it's the best. It's the best.
I tell you, I've been thinking of getting one, but
yeah, you have to get a rescue. Excuse me, I know he wants to go out now. Go,
yeah.
Go on. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So how you doing in the year 2020?
I'm good. It was a great start to the year. We, as you know, we were promoting Carol of the Bells, the film that we all did together.
Yes.
And it was released March 6th. And then the pandemic happened on the 13th. So, right. But I think it's a great, with a lot of people being home now, it's the perfect feel-good film if you're going to be stuck at home. So,
oh yeah.
So we've been pushing it. We actually, I'll send you the new trailer. We added all the quotes from the different reviews because we got quite a few really nice reviews. So,
right.
So we made a whole new thing, and we're talking with Lifetime and Hallmark, and hopefully one of those stations will pick it up for Christmas, and then we'll do a big push DVD around Christmas time too. So just planning our next thing. I see Wendy Travolta's up there. That's my wife's name.
Oh, I know. We should change that, huh?
I'm on her. You might be able to do it in your posting.
I think I can. Okay, yeah. We will take Joey.
This is Wendy's computer, so.
Rename. Ta-da! I'm still learning how to use it.
Well, you're better than myself. I'm terrible at it. But I'm learning. I'm learning.
And you're on. I wanted to thank you for hosting the Meet the Biz workshops for so many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
3 to 5 years we did it out of Inclusion Films in Burbank.
That's right. And you remember what I told you when you asked how much does it cost?
What did you say?
I said, as long as you hire one of our students to work there, that's the fee. And you paid them to work there. Yeah. It's opportunities, you turn them into work.
It's and wonderful workers. Wonderful, yeah. And probably they're going to be hiring me someday soon.
Yeah, I know. I think one of the young men that worked with you, oh God, what's his name? Will. Tall Will.
Yeah.
He now lives in San Diego and works for the program full time. He's on his own. He's got his own apartment, and he's been with Options for All for, that's my partner down in San Diego.
Okay.
And he's been there for almost 4 years now, making a living, getting insurance, and having a nice life for himself down there. So.
Oh, and San Diego's beautiful.
And he teaches, and how bad can that be, San Diego? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
you started off, I mean, singing, acting, performing. What sparked you to get into what you are doing right now?
Well, I was a former special ed teacher.
Okay.
So it was always in my heart and years. And when I taught, I used to teach through theatrics. I had this theory that if kids can watch TV for 5 hours at a time and not get bored, if you could make your lesson plan
Hmm.
like like a TV show and make it dramatic and make it fun, you're gonna keep their attention. And that's what I did. I performed my lesson plans, but after a while doing that every day, coming up with a lesson plan, and I taught in an orphanage for children, but
Yeah.
I used theatrics, and it was not unlike when you see oh God, the big Broadway show, the Hamilton.
Right.
That's a history lesson when you look at
Yeah. Yeah.
it. You learn so much from watching that in the history. So it was kind of like that feel would sing, do a little dance, do whatever, and then then I got into show business, singing first, then acting. But when I got on the set of my first film, which was a movie called Sunnyside, I I saw like 60 people, and I didn't know, I knew theater through my sisters and brothers, but I'd never been on a set before. And I
Right.
was intrigued by it. I wanted to know what the grip did, what electric was, what the craft service was, and this whole team working together to make a film. And it reminded me of like a high school, that community in high school where you all work together and for a common goal to graduate. But in here, the outcome was making a film. But I thought, wow, what a cool way to make a living. Because usually when you think film, you think producer, director, actors.
Yeah.
There's so many other positions. Oh, here we go. Sullivan's in now. Okay. Sullivan, hey girl.
Yeah.
Uh, there's all these. Okay, here.
Oh, let's say hello. Hello, gorgeous.
Come
Oh.
That's my girl, Sullivan.
Oh.
Um, so where was I? So I was intrigued by it, and I knew this is what I wanted to do. But what I found was as I delved deeper into it as a producer, um, I found that it was the process of the making the film that I really liked. I love the prep. I love the casting. Love the breaking down of the script, the budgeting, the scheduling, having all these people working together as a team. And I thought, wow, what a great way to teach.
Hmm.
And after years of producing and directing and towards the end of, well, I shouldn't say the end of my directing career because I just directed Carol the Bells,
Yeah.
came out of retirement for that. But I thought to myself, I'm getting folks, PAs out of top colleges that don't know their way around the set. I go, wouldn't it be cool if they can learn the way that I learned how to make film? So, uh, so I was starting, like, that's when I was thinking of inclusion films. And the idea was that when I make a feature film,
Hmm.
I take a small group of 10, 15 folks, and they become a part of the whole process from the very beginning all the way through post production, the way I learned. And I learned by making mistakes.
Right.
I mean, uh, it was, from my first film, which was about, you know, $300,000, I think we made it for, up to, 1.5 million to 2 million. The process was the same. So I had this idea to do it. And when I first I did this article, my daughter was doing a film festival at Chaminade High School in the Valley.
Yeah.
And at that time I was doing classes for neurotypical kids, you know, acting classes. A friend of mine was doing it. It was called the Entertainment Experience,
Mm.
and I saw what he was doing, and again, I was making 2 films a year, and I was trying to put together a slate of films to do this, what I call the practical film uh, workshop.
Right.
So what had happened was there was an article written, and it was about the film festival. I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Rachel. I'm going to give you camps to give away. I'll give you classes to give you away, programs, and I'll get you some publicity.
Yeah.
And in that article, it mentioned that I was a former special ed teacher. So 2 parents with children with autism had approached me and said, would you be interested in, or not interested, but would you let special needs kids come to your program? And absolutely. I said, we have the space. So we started opening up the door to kids on the spectrum and Down syndrome coming. And this was back in 2003, 2000, I think it was 2003.
So you have the program and then open it up to kids on
Yeah, the special needs, but it wasn't inclusion films at that time.
Okay.
But in the article, that's when it, I talked about the practical film workshop, what I was leaning towards, but it wasn't for special needs kids. It was for everybody because I believe everybody's the same, hence inclusion films.
Yeah.
But so, and then one of the parents had approached me and said, can anybody submit a film to the film festival? And I said, yeah. I said, if they're in high school, that's the prerequisite. And she said, well, I have a son with autism that wants to submit a film. And I said, okay, well, what's the film about? She said, what it's like to be autistic from an autistic kid's point of view. I said, that's really cool. So I met him. I said, well, send me the film and I'll give it to Rachel over at the festival. And she said, well, he doesn't make a film. Well, I said, well, that's a problem.
Right.
So I met him, and after meeting him, I just really liked the project. And he wasn't, I mean, he was into it, but I think the mother was a little more into it than he was. But after listening to it, I said, all right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a cameraman, I'll give you an editor, and I'll mentor you in the making of it.
Oh, that's great.
And this little 10-minute film, and as soon as he knew he was going to make the film, because somebody believed in him, it started, well, now I want to become a filmmaker. So we made this short film, and oh God, what was the PBS show? It was a big PBS show. It was California Connected. They did a piece on it. Then the Daily News wrote a piece on it. And it got such an overwhelming response. They want to know about this kid with autism.
Right.
I was making the film, but we interviewed parents. I said, you have to do all the work. You got to line them up. You do the interviews and I'll mentor you. So it started coming out really, I mean, it was really interesting. So the night of this event, 500 people showed up. The ABC News came down and covered it. And all of a sudden, this little film was, like a big deal. And the Daily News got such an overwhelming response from Italy, from Ireland. We had people from Ireland at this screening. We were expecting 50, and 500 people showed up. And from there, I started getting requests because they knew I was doing camps too.
Right.
Could you come and teach us to do it? And that's how the camps started.
Right.
And what happened with the camps, when I started doing the camps, because I never wanted to do the program without doing it with a feature. I thought it was really important because I wanted to be able to hire people, train them, then hire them. So it was always on the back burner until I had a feature to do it with. Then what happened with the camps, and I said, it's the same process, whether it's 10 minutes, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's a feature, It's a longer process,
Mhm.
but the process is where the education takes place.
Mm.
It's the communication, it's the collaboration, it's those soft skills that you need to go out into the workplace. Those are applicable anyway, whether you're going to be a filmmaker or not. It's just a fun way to learn them. You
Yeah.
know, all of a sudden you're gaining confidence, you're a part of something that you can see. Even with theater, you're a part of something that you can see and you perform it, you have an audience. With a film, that's there forever, you know, and you know that's when I started thinking, well, we can do this. And the regional center, Lanterman, uh, in a meeting one time, they were asking, uh, and this was, we were looking to like get camps funded and acting classes.
Yeah.
Your group, I think, was already doing it. So I had a studio out in the valley, and
What was your first studio?
it was in Tarzana. It
Oh,
was it was in Tarzana. I built out a whole studio with a theater and everything, and a sound stage and the whole thing.
wow.
So
And Burbank came after that.
what's that?
Burbank.
Burbank came after that. Yeah. So what had happened in a meeting with the regional center, they said we're looking for something for uh, this tsunami of young folks with autism that are coming into the workplace, and they've got nothing.
Mm.
They got nothing. Is there anything? And I pitched them the practical film workshop, which was Inclusion Films,
Right.
and they loved it and wanted me to do it in the worst way. But in the beginning, I didn't want to pull the trigger on it because I needed a feature to do it. And I did a feature in that time period, like in 2006, called Final Move, but it wasn't enough time to put together the whole thing
Right.
because, you know, when features come, boom, it's like that. So after doing the camps in 2006, I said, you know what, this can happen. And we did 2007, we did a pilot.
Yeah.
And it was like with about 10, 15, actually, Gail Williamson's son,
Blair.
with Blair was in the program. And we came up with this script. It was called Sweet 16.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. With was that, because I don't know if I had met you yet. You did Spud.
I did Spud. That was after Spud, right? No, I mean
No,
before
Sweet
Spud.
16 was before.
Yeah.
So we did this, you know, we did the pilot, and it went really, really well,
Yeah.
the pilot. And they pulled the trigger, and then we were there, you know, that's when we opened up in Burbank.
That's so interesting. I thought that Inclusion Films had been going on for years before I even started Meet the Biz, but I just, I started teaching at the Media Access Office around 2000.
Yeah, and I had done, before then, I had done, you know, I think I hosted Media Access.
Yeah, I remember watching.
I filled in the last minute and presented a couple of times too. But that was like 2000, that was around 2003, 2004.
I think that was the first
doing,
time.
we were doing classes at the Entertainment Experience at that time. So.
I love it.
Yeah.
And another thing I want to thank you for is inviting me to cast for you.
Yes.
With you.
Well, we did, yeah, and then we did more projects, right? We did the that Tool. Remember the Tool that you cast for me? It was a promo.
Okay.
And then that other one that's become quite a big hit was the safety video, the officers.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I do work and I forget about it.
I know you forget about that.
But
Yeah.
I remember, Spud was a joy.
Yeah, that was a fun film to make.
And
Yeah.
then calling, you calling me up and say, hey, I have this feature we're doing with, called Carol the Bells, and I was like, and then he says, come on. But the thing is, I feel that we have such a good working relationship, it's so nice to be able to work with people that you feel comfortable with, artistic
I
with.
think we work so well together that we have heart attacks together.
Yes. Oh my God. And the same, okay, I call it a heart healing, by the way,
Heart healing,
because
yes.
it sounds much more.
Yeah.
But can you, that is like sort of do 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 that,
I know,
not
but it's
just, I mean, the same day,
same
not the
day.
same day of like 5 years,
Same
but
thing. Yeah.
probably the same time too.
Well, I went. I shouldn't have done this, but I was on the road up in Sacramento,
Right.
and the funny thing is, I would. Do you know who Louis Morrow is?
No, I should.
Louis Morrow started the Mind Institute,
Mm.
which is one of the biggest research for of the brain for autism. It was on the cover of Time magazine. It was really good. He is a heart specialist, one of the most renowned in the world. I'm having lunch with him,
Yeah.
and something's not right. And I was going to ask him, but I said, well, you were having lunch. I don't want to talk shop.
Right.
But from that, I knew where to go because we had lunch right near the hospital that I went to. I think it's called Mercy Hospital up in, and that night my jaw was feeling a little weird and tingly, and something wasn't right. And I got in my car and I drove. I took an aspirin first, but I drove over to the hospital and I stayed in overnight because they didn't get to me right away. And they did some, tests. And the next morning they said, there's some blockage. We need to, no damage to your heart when they found out when they went in. And they went in and fixed it up. And it was crazy, crazy.
And that was on the 14th, or was it the 16th of January? I think it was the 16th.
Yeah, I think it was. I know it was. I know it was. Yeah, we talked about it. Was around the same time. So I
Because
don't know when I actually had it. I think it was just blockage, so it wasn't a full attack. It was just the symptoms. I wasn't like down. Were you out when you had your?
I actually I woke up that morning and I felt pressure on the chest, and
Mhm.
I went, this is not acid reflux. So I went to my roommate, I got an aspirin, and she took me to the nearest hospital. And I said, can you just go 5 minutes further to Cedars? No. If you're having a heart attack, you got to go to the nearest hospital. So I went to this hospital. They kept me 3 hours and sent me home.
Oh,
And I was like, and they did the tests. They did the X-ray, the
did they
echo,
take blood tests up?
and the blood test,
Really?
and then they sent me home. And then I felt sicker and sicker, and I called my doctor at 8 o'clock at night after I was,
Mm-hmm.
spitting up blood, God forbid. And the doctor said, I want you to go to Cedars. We're going to find out what's going on with you. So walked into Cedars. A friend took me to Cedars. I walked in, went down. I said, I don't know what's going on. They took the same pretest. Then 11 people came in and said, one guy said, the doctor said, Mr. Zimmerman, you've had a heart attack today. I said, what do you mean? I was in the hospital this morning. My energy was like that.
Oh man.
I stayed overnight, and I actually had, I was hit, as they call it. But I was not.
How many stints do you have?
I have one.
Oh, one. That's all I have.
You have one too.
Just one. Yeah.
And it's interesting
And
because
when I laugh really hard, I can feel it sometimes.
really,
Yeah, we when we go out on the road, Barry Pearl, right?
yeah.
Barry and Dale, who runs we would get laughing so hard. I just remember laughing so hard, and I said, "You stop!" I said, "You're killing me, man. I can feel it in my stint." And that was like the rest of the summer. My stint is killing me. It's like the whole summer.
Oh my God, I could feel it in my skin. That's the name of one of your books.
Yeah, I can feel it in my stint.
You know what Jerry Jewell got me when I was in the hospital? It's just amazing. and we won't go too much into it, but Robbie Benson's book.
Oh,
You know, he's had 4 open heart surgeries, I believe.
really? I didn't know that. I didn't
Amazing.
know that.
But Joe, I always consider you as my heart brother.
That's right. We're heart brothers. Yes.
Um, I actually put out 2 Performing Arts Studio West and Meet the Biz and the Family that I was going to be interviewing you.
Okay.
And I have several questions here,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Sure. Go
A
ahead.
question from Tina Green. Will you be making any more movies like Carol of the Bells soon?
I hope so. I hope so. I've been thinking about what I can do. Um, and it'll depend on how, how this film does as well. But, we're capable of making these films, so why not?
Yeah.
Excuse
We have a Yadira Alderan. Do you look for talent and stories outside of LA? And she's
well, I mean, we're always looking for stuff. So,
yeah,
excuse me. I mean, if you have something, you can always submit something through the website because we do short stories too. I mean, that's how Spud got made.
right.
The young man had just graduated from what was the school down in Orange County? God, the big film school in Orange County.
I know what you mean, and it's going.
Anyway, he graduated. He was looking to put together a feature,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, if I had the money to do a feature, I'm going to do a feature myself and do it amongst the program. But I said, but we can support you and do a short film, and that's how that all came about. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Just went in my head and back out.
Right. I do that too. I always think that when I had this, a few of the cells went, I'm going to shut down now. Teresa Direx said, why did you move to Bakersfield and leave Burbank?
Well, I think we kind of combine the programs there. We're talking about coming back to LA, but I wanted to make sure. For years, I've been breaking down the doors with employment, and it's just starting to happen now. If you look at the commercials, if you look at the films, it's more reflective of society, and that took years to break down. We were involved with Delivering Jobs, which was a partnership between Special Olympics, Best Buddies, and Autism Speaks. And basically, they created this utopian world where people with different abilities just fit in. Whatever you wanted to do, you could do. And when they shot that, they approached me and said, hey, actually, it was through Gail Williams. She's like, the matchmaker there. She's always.
I was talking to somebody say you don't even have to say Gail Williamson. You just say Gail. It's sort of like Madonna Cher. Gail.
Yeah, exactly. So she heard about this and they were looking for crew. They wanted to talk the talk and walk the walk. So they called me and I said, what are you looking for? And they said, well, we would like to hire crew. I said, what do you need? Grip. Okay, you got it. We need gaffer, lighting. I said, you got it. Sound, you got it. Camera, you got it. So before you knew it, we had 6 people working on a union shoot at 20th Century Fox.
I love
and
it.
I'm always looking for opportunities. I said, are you documenting this? They said, yeah, we'll probably get some B-roll. I said, no, you have to document this.
Yeah.
So they hired Inclusion Films to do the behind the scenes. So from that, this great shoot it was really beautiful. Zach from Peanut Butter Falcon was in it, and several other folks were in it, and I was there the whole day. So they were bringing producers over from different shows, and one of them was the Dr. Phil show. So
Oh,
from that, they said, we would really like to give some of you guys a shot. So they took 5 of our students for 2 weeks on the Dr. Phil show and the doctor show.
mhm.
And they worked in the building sets, the people that bring the ushers that bring the talents and all that. And it was a great experience. And they were ready to hire again before this whole thing came down.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the other show, Special, hired 3 of our guys,
I
and
love that.
Special is right before they were talking about keeping them on longer, and then the pandemic came.
Ryan O'Connell's a powerhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So all those folks. So the doors are opening. The doors
Yeah.
are opening, and I have a bunch of jobs that I'm going to need to hire folks on. You know, soon we're ready to get back, we're going to be doing it again. So
Right.
I think the outlook is very, very strong.
Right.
You know, just a shame, but you know, maybe, you know, I think people are going to be more reflective now when we go back and not take things for granted. You know?
I think the world, after it's been closed off so much, it's gonna, once we're able to go out and be safe and all that,
Yeah.
it's gonna burst
What's
open.
the first thing you're going to do?
Okay, I just go see my mom.
Go see your mom. Well, I was hoping that was the baited question. We know that. What's the first food you're going to eat?
What's the first?
Food where's the restaurant? What deli are you going to go to?
Oh, what? Yeah. Oh, by the way, I've been cooking. I'm learning to cook and eat healthy, and I put my bike together on Friday. So now every day I'm riding my bike.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Well, we've been doing that, you know, because not only did we have our 40th anniversary this past Sunday, Wendy and I have been together 40 years.
The anniversary.
And then we have our first grandchild coming the first week in June. So we have a lot to look forward to.
Wow.
And when we get up in the morning, okay, instead of one more day in paradise, it's okay, one day closer to Jonah, my grandson.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's interesting how, you know, it's really about how you look at things. And wow, that's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Well, thank you, Joey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you, and everybody stay safe. And hopefully I'll be able to come and sit in on a class sometime. I'd like
oh,
to
that
do.
would be a joy. It was
Yeah.
a joy. And I loved going to your class through the Ethernet.
Dale said it went quite well. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. It was
I
great.
got a quick story to tell you.
Yeah.
So we're doing the Zoom,
Yeah.
and it was with the San Diego group, because we have 6 different studios, and they're all doing online. So just like you're giving questions,
Yeah.
so the moderator Mario says, Maria would like to ask you a question, and she'd like to know about comedy. I said, okay. I said, put her up. They cut to Maria, and she's I said, that's comedy. I said, you can't. I said, that is comedy. And we couldn't wake her up. She was snoring through the whole thing. I said, that's funny.
That is great.